about a lot of the stuff. She's been calling out the craziness of the left. Former New York Times journalist who has said that the whole place has gone woke. She quit very publicly. She started the Free Press. Here she is on Fox, basically perfectly explaining what just happened.
I think one of the great stories of this election, frankly, is the rise of new media and the power of new media. You had one campaign, again, this has nothing to do with like love Donald Trump, hate Donald Trump. Objectively, they ran a campaign in which both candidates, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, went on like 3-hour-long podcasts with people like Theo Vaughn and J.D. Vance and Tim Dillon. They embraced a new media. They embraced platforms like X. And then you had another candidate who was scripted to within an inch of her life.
Yeah, and that's the point. She was a horrible candidate. It was overly scripted. She, as David Sachs mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and I repeated it often, she became part of it. She was in a doom loop. That basically the more they hid her, people didn't like her. The more they showed her, people didn't like her. Everyone felt the inauthenticity. I would also mention that I think the little slight piece that Barry's missing there is that it's not just because Trump and JD went on these shows. It's because an entire ecosystem was built under their noses, right? How did this show develop? I decided to go independent because I was like, these corporate structures do not work. People don't pay attention to that stuff anymore. You know, even Fox. Fox is very fair to me. I go on all the shows all the time. So this is not a criticism of them in that they never tell me what to say. But I can tell you when I go on Fox, I don't really see much traction online anymore because the worlds have just completely split. That's not to say people aren't watching. Millions of people watch Gutfeld every night. I love doing Gutfeld. I love doing Jesse, all of those things. And again, they won't put me on CNN or MSNBC. Years ago, when I was still waking up, when I wrote Don't Burn This Book, so this is now in 2000, what was that, 2012? When did I write that book? Jesus, that was 2020? It's about 5 years ago, roughly. Yeah, it was 2020. It was right during lockdowns when I was supposed to go on the book tour. We tried to get me on The View. We tried to get me on MSNBC and CNN and all of those things. So even then, when I wasn't as far a right-wing maniac as I am now, they were not willing to have those conversations. So an alternate ecosystem developed. More and more people started realizing, boy, that's a whole bunch of bullshit over there. We're going to find this new thing, and now new businesses developed and a completely new way of doing media developed. And congratulations to Van Jones for getting it today. We will talk about 70.